Once upon a time, in a grand kingdom filled with shining towers and laughing princesses, there lived many royal daughters known for their beauty, their talents, and their endless joy. They were like a bouquet of bright, blooming flowers, each one celebrated for her unique charm. But among them was one princess who rarely smiled. Her name was Princess Elara. Though Elara lived in a palace of gold and ate from plates of silver, her heart felt strangely empty. While other princesses danced in the grand ballroom, their gowns swirling like petals in the wind, Elara would slip away. While they sang beautiful melodies and shared secrets in hushed, giggling whispers, Elara often sat alone by the tall, arched windows, watching the clouds drift slowly, aimlessly across the sky. She felt different, like a single, quiet note in a loud, boisterous symphony. She felt unseen, unheard, and cloaked in a sadness that no one seemed to notice. It wasn't that she was unhappy with her life. It was that she felt things so deeply, the world seemed almost too much to bear. The laughter of her sisters sometimes sounded like shouting, and the bright colors of the court felt overwhelming. No one, not even the kind king and queen, noticed how deeply she felt the world, or how lonely she was within its embrace. One sunny afternoon, feeling the familiar ache of solitude, Elara wandered further than she ever had before. She left the perfectly manicured gardens, with their rose bushes and marble fountains, and walked toward the edge of the royal grounds. There, just beyond a forgotten stone wall, she discovered something she had never seen before: a small, forgotten house nestled at the edge of the deep, quiet forest. Its windows were clouded with years of dust, and thick, green ivy wrapped around its stone walls like gentle, protective arms. A sense of peace emanated from the little house, a stark contrast to the constant energy of the palace. Drawn by an unexplainable curiosity, a pull she couldn't ignore, Elara pushed open the heavy wooden door and stepped inside. The air inside didn't feel musty or abandoned. Instead, it shimmered softly, as if holding a secret breath. Dust motes danced in the single beam of sunlight that pierced through the gloom, looking like tiny golden stars. Inside the profound quiet of the house, Elara heard a voice. It was not loud or startling, but warm, calm, and impossibly kind. "Do not be afraid," it said. Startled, Elara spun around, her heart thumping against her ribs. She looked in every corner, behind the old, draped furniture and up toward the dusty rafters, but she saw no one. There was no shadow, no footprint, no sign of another living soul. Then, as she stood perfectly still, she realized something extraordinary. She could feel someone standing right before her. It wasn't a sight, but a presence, a feeling of warmth and gentle energy. There was no body, no face, no shadow to cast, but she knew with absolute certainty that she was not alone. "I am a prince," the voice said again, as soft as a whisper on the wind. "But I no longer have a body." The invisible prince, as Elara came to call him, told her his story. He spoke of a time long ago when he too had walked the sunlit paths of a kingdom. He had been cursed by a forgotten spell, a strange and cruel magic that did not kill him, but erased his physical form, bit by bit, until he was nothing more than a memory, a whisper in the air. The world could no longer see him, and eventually, over many long years, it forgot him entirely. He explained that his presence could only be sensed by those with a true and deep loneliness in their hearts, those who understood what it was like to feel invisible in a crowded world. That was why Elara could perceive him. She saw not with her eyes, but with her soul. Her own feeling of being unseen had opened a door that no one else could find. Day after day, the old house became Elara's sanctuary. She returned faithfully, leaving the noise of the palace behind. She spoke to the invisible prince about her sadness, her fears, and her secret hopes. She told him things she had never told another soul. He listened without judgment, his presence a comforting blanket around her. He would laugh softly at her small, witty observations about court life, a sound only she could hear. He understood her silences, knowing that sometimes no words were needed. For the very first time in her life, Elara did not feel alone. And as the days turned into weeks, she began to change. A genuine smile would grace her lips more often. Her steps became lighter, her eyes brighter. The heavy weight of her loneliness began to fade, replaced by the warmth of a friendship unlike any other. She was sharing her world with someone who truly understood it. One evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of purple and gold, the prince's voice held a different tone, one of gentle seriousness. "To break my curse," he said softly, "someone must choose me. Not for my looks, my wealth, or my title, but simply for who I am. They must choose the person they cannot see." He confessed that over the long years, a few others had stumbled upon the house, sensed his presence, but they had always fled in fear or disbelief. No one had ever stayed long enough to know him. Until Elara returned to the palace that night with a heart full of thought. The prince's words echoed in her mind. All her life, she had been surrounded by people, by handsome princes and charming nobles who saw her title, her gown, her face, but never truly saw her. Now she had found someone who was entirely invisible, yet he saw her more clearly than anyone ever had. He saw the real Elara. The choice was not difficult. It was the clearest, most certain feeling she had ever had. The next morning, she did not hesitate. She walked with purpose back to the old house at the edge of the forest. The air inside hummed with anticipation. Standing in the center of the room, she spoke into the quiet, her voice steady and clear. "I choose you." In that instant, the air in the small house trembled. A brilliant, golden light erupted from the very spot where the prince had always stood, filling the room with a blinding, beautiful warmth. Slowly, within that light, a form began to appear. It was not a perfect storybook prince. He was not impossibly handsome or clad in shining armor. He was just a man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. He was real. The invisible prince was visible once more. The curse was broken. It was not undone by a grand magical gesture or a powerful incantation. It was broken by something far simpler and far more powerful: understanding, acceptance, and love. Elara brought the prince back to the kingdom. He was introduced not as a hero or a long-lost royal, but as her dearest friend. The palace that had once felt so empty and cold to Elara now felt warm and full of life. The princess who had once felt unseen now shone with an inner light that was brighter than any jewel or gown. She no longer sat by the windows watching the clouds. Instead, she danced, she laughed, and she shared her world with someone who cherished it. And the people of the kingdom, watching their transformed princess, learned a powerful and timeless truth. Sometimes, the most important things in life, the things that truly matter, cannot be seen with the eyes. They can only be felt with the heart. And Princess Elara, the lonely princess, was lonely no more. Thank you so much for joining me for this story. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Until next time,